Fastest Indian to 200 test wickets, first Indian to breach 900 ICC rating points. We all know the records he has broken on the field, but little do we know about the hard work and practice that goes behind the scenes. I'm here to find out how a champion is made. Thanks for joining us today, Ash. You had a stellar New Zealand series. You bagged 27 wickets, became man of the series. Yet the day you came back to Chennai, very day you came back to the nets to practice. Where do you get that kind of drive from?
See, the fact that you're not searching for any particular result and you're looking towards getting better every single day, and my motto in life has been very simple. I want to excel in whatever I do, and it doesn't matter if I'm playing cricket or if I'm coaching cricket, or even if I'm doing anything for that matter. I just want to be excellent at it. I'm just trying to attain the excellence that I've always wanted to achieve. And when your longer term goal or your larger picture is excellence, very often than not, you don't need anybody to motivate you towards that.
Right, and I see you have imbibed the same kind of passion and aggression in the kids that came here this morning. I had a chance before we were setting up to have a chat with a couple of them, and they seem to have the same aggression that you have to cricket.
See, every kid that comes into a coaching clinic, or if they want to achieve something in life, they will have that hunger and passion. It's very important from my perspective, having gone through the entire process, to probably guide them in a fashion where they are probably 5 years ahead of where they should be. I've always told every kid in the academy about this, that if I can share my experience, it's like basically becoming advanced in their life by 5 years. But the fact remains that every kid does not easily understand this fact, and they tend to have their own bit of fun. But our culture here at Gen Next is to try and tell them and try and make sure they have as much as fun as possible. At the same time, try and use my experience in a better fashion so that they can really fast track their career in paces.
And the kids that I spoke to seem to be very, very young, like 8 years old, 10 years old. I want to get it from you. What is the optimal age for kids to start enrolling in a coaching academy?
See, first things first, they have a lot of age cap on the kind of kids that come to a cricket academy, which I think is wrong. If you're way too young, if you're 5, if you're 4, it becomes a little difficult, because we say the soft skills or the hand-eye coordination, which is a bit of a problem. Probably 6 or 7 could be the ideal age, but you can never have a cap.
But just for a reference point, what age did you start?
I started at 8.
Probably coaching.
7.5. Yeah, I went to a proper serious cricket clinic at 7.5.
Okay.
And by the time I played my first game, I was 8, probably a little over 8. And I started playing serious cricket, school cricket, by the age of 9.
Okay.
And my first 100 came when I was 9.5 or something like that. So, yeah, there's no, as I told you, there is no hard and fast rule for this.
Okay.
Everything can be manipulated. Every kid can be addressed in a different fashion. And the most important thing in this particular field, let's say in coaching, is that you need to have patience. Because as you've come through the grind, I'm able to realize that I have come through the grind, but I can't really associate myself to being a 10-year-old kid making basic mistakes. So I should be able to accept that and try and have a bit of patience and teach these kids day in and day out until they get into a habit. And that's what our coaches do. Here at Gen Next, we have a very simple theory. We don't really bask on the glory of any particular coach. Even when I come to the ground, I follow a program. Like if today is Monday and we have a program designed, my job is to actually execute that program to the best of my abilities, rather than try and stand there and waft around and try and tell the kids or scold them or try and keep on talking. You don't have to waste the time of anybody.
You have traveled around the world and seen cricketing infrastructure and facilities all around the world. Where do you think, like very objectively speaking, where do you think we can bring in some more improvements in our coaching infrastructure?
For starters, some accountability.
Okay.
I've always said that, see, there's a very funny way of drawing comparisons. We don't have a certification course for a coach, a cricket coach, or any coach in India as of now, or around the world. There might be a few certifications that are available, but we don't necessarily structure them in a proper fashion. Or even if some of these coaches go and attend these courses, the parents are not used to asking what sort of certification they've done. Are they a qualified coach? So the one area I think we should improve is the fact that the parents or the kids or whoever who's coming and paying something. Like a simple comparison to draw. You have a doctor, and the doctor is not a qualified one, and you tend to realize that after a couple of years. Do you keep going to the same doctor? You don't.
We talked a lot about initiation, like kids getting started with sports, getting started with cricket. But then after that comes a very tricky phase, age 14 to 25. You could be a superstar district level player or knocking on the doors of Ranji. But at the same time, you face a lot of crossroads in life. You talk about 12th standard versus cricket, talk about a plush IT job versus cricket. Now, these are questions in the minds of these youngsters. What do you have to tell to them?
See, it's I understand those because I've gone through. I mean, I've not necessarily gone through the same kind of expectations, or I never really wanted to be an IT professional. So yes, I did my information technology and engineering. Yes, I enjoyed it, to be very honest, but I never really was looking forward to such a job. It is not my cup of tea. And with time, you're realizing that all these people who are working in the IT sector, they themselves want to move out and try and do something on their own. So the point here is when sport can throw some career at you, and if it is something you can enjoy and take it up full time, then why not give it a try? If you played sport, I think anybody who's played sport, active sport from the age of 10 to 20 has no way of losing out in life.
That's nice. We have seen all your high points in your cricketing career, you know, from the time you entered IPL and the place where you are right now, world's #1 all-rounder. We have not seen the kind of struggles and challenges that you have had to face, you know, prior to IPL. Can you take us to
That's
that
why people
part?
write autobiographies, don't they?
Give us a snippet.
See, it's it is quite a difficult question to answer because until you not until you reach playing for the national team, even when you start playing and you're going through the process, it's made full of hardships. So what people see from the outside is that we all get to stay in a 5-star hotel. We're all well paid. We are all shown in TV all the time. We get we get articles written left, right, and center when we do well. Yes, when we don't do well, we still get attention. We are wrong things or bad things are written, but you're still in the limelight. So these are what people see from the outside and want their kids to get into this. But what they don't understand is we have a lot of parents who come into our academy and say this thing about, okay, let my son not play for the Indian team. He might not be that gifted, but let him at least get into an IPL team. So what they don't understand here is that there is no one way or one particular direction that I can give them so that they can get there to an IPL team or a Ranji Trophy team or an Indian team. The fact remains that we can only make your son a better cricketer or make your daughter a better cricketer, whatever it is. So that's what we are aiming for. The hardships, coming back to where you're going, starts here.
Right.
When you don't have a vision at a coaching cricket academy, you start projecting kids for other interests, certain kids. And certain very talented kids are not so very well projected, so these kids start losing their way. And I have seen this day in and day out, every single day happening at different academies that I have been a part of.
I saw your registration form for new students coming in, and right next to the student's name, there was something called the chief motivator. So you are saying this is as important, like the motivation should come from somebody else for each kid. How important is that for you? How important did it drive your career?
Okay, let's just take it into two sides here. What is motivation? What is motivation to you might not be motivation to me. But one common factor, underlining factor for all kids coming to play a sport is the fact that they enjoy the sport. That is the motivation for them. They come here, they shouldn't be actually tormented, they shouldn't be given hardships. They shouldn't be, it is very easy, like a professional cricketer when we train, at the end of our training session, sometimes we feel like puking, okay, because it's that hard. Right. And why is it hard? Because of what we want to achieve, and after a certain age, we have the maturity to realize that to be able to match up to international standards, these are the hardships that you need to go through. When you understand the hardships and do it, it's a different ball game. You don't need motivation, you don't need the joy. You know that the joy or the pleasure comes at the end of it. But as a kid, when you walk into a ground and when you make a kid run 10 rounds around the ground, or as a part of punishment, have them carry their bats, have them wear their pads and run around the ground, they don't really like it. They will shy away from the sport. And the fact remains that they don't need the motivation and they don't have the understanding capacity about what will come at the end of it. So as a cricket institute or as an academy, you have the responsibility of training them in a fashion where they have as much as fun as possible, and all these training things are masked. Like you actually give tablets to dogs, or when you give tablets to kids, you mask them underneath the chocolate and give it to them. You need to mask it in a fashion where they enjoy it, and then eventually try and get the results out of them.
Like, let's talk a little bit about preparation and strategizing, moving on to international cricket. Last year was a stellar performance from you. We saw time and again, you outfoxed three prime international batsmen, Sangakkara, ABD and Williamson. Can you take us through the kind of backdrop work, behind the scenes work that went behind your success, for these three batsmen specifically? I'll tell you why I'm asking you this. See, a lot of us seeing on television, we just see the results. And we don't really, we think that you bowl a ball that, like obviously that you have practice for, but the kind of strategizing that goes behind it, the kind of work not done on the nets, but on the meeting rooms, what happens really, like, when you start to strategize for taking out a specific batsman?
It's going to be very difficult to explain this for more than one reason. It is not necessarily a team plan that comes out and enables you to do this. Cricket has not got there yet for some peculiar reasons, or for reasons that I don't understand or beyond me, that the engine rooms of the cricket teams don't yet function that way. But if I look at it from the other side of the fence, cricket is probably a complicated sport in itself, because like if you take a 100-meter race, it is just about running. You just have to run, and you need to eat well, you need to train well, and you run. So, and there are obviously small nuances, but the skill remains the same. But when it comes back to cricket, it's such a huge skill sport that it becomes very, very difficult to try and prescribe one particular medicine to all the people. When you sit in the engine room, the captain and coach might require something out of you for bowling to a particular person, but the bowler might have the limitations of not being able to do that. So we try and, as a whole team management, they try and simplify it, saying we set common goals. Like, for example, how do we build pressure in a test match? Try and bowl certain maiden overs together. Try and bowl in regions which are not comfortable to a certain batsman. So what they necessarily do, ideally do, is try and tell you what are the weaknesses of the batsman, what are the strengths of the batsman, and let you make your own plans. Right. Okay, which is some sort of a yes and a no for me. But I've started to understand that everybody has their own limitations and they need to operate within that. As far as my dismissals of all these batsmen go, it's very simple. When I bowled at Sangakkara, I think I was bowling in one of my best. It was the best of my bowling career, and after a point of time, I had to just shut my eyes and try and enjoy my skill, and try and deliver every single ball in the business area for Sangakkara. And with respect to AB, yes, there was a lot of planning that went into it. It was more personal planning. I went and I had bowled to AB before a little bit, and he's actually never really dominated me in a whole sense. I try and make a note of batsmen that actually dominate me well. There are very few batsmen, and when they dominate me, I try and find ways out of it. And when it came to AB, it is very difficult to beat AB with sheer variations alone, because he might just block around a few balls, but he has got this innocuous ability of trying to dominate you back. He'll play the shots, he will try and put you off and all these kind of things. So one thing that stood out with respect to AB was variation in pace. And what really brought me down to that was he has got out to bowlers that actually, not necessarily spinners as well, fast bowlers, who's got a great slower ball, right, who's generally varied his pace. He's got the shots he plays behind the wicket. Right. All these shots require pace. So the bottom line comes down to the fact that AB likes pace on the ball. Right. So I kind of realized and then after I realized that pace on the ball is important for him, I went back and I saw how many spinners have got his wicket. And when I went back to that, people who again varied their pace really well, he's got out to Graham Swan a lot. And when you see Graham Swan is a beautiful flight bowler, and he's got him out a lot, which means variation in pace has done him in a lot of times. So that was the reason behind plotting AB's dismissal, and all of AB's dismissals were when I slowed the ball down. And when I slowed the ball down considerably after a build-up of a few deliveries before that. With respect to Williamson, it was more sort of planning that came in from my past experience of having bowled at Williamson. He is another batsman who loves pace, and he plays very well from within the stump lines. And he's got a lot of options. He uses his feet well. whenever you see batsmen using feet well, many of them use their feet well predominantly when it is predetermined. You take Michael Clarke, you take Kane Williamson, they step out a wee bit earlier. So when these batsmen step out a wee bit earlier, they try and control the stump lines. So they try and control the stump lines and they try and control their leg stump lines to try and make sure they're not beaten on the inside half. Okay. So when this happens, they start lunging outside the off stump, and very few batsmen have the ability of moving forward and going back really well. And of course, Williamson does it well, AB does it well, Steven Smith does it well. Right. But with respect to Williamson, the advantage I had was a little bit of foothold outside the off stump. Trent Boult was bowling onto the foothold, and when I pushed it wider away from him, because he came in with a plan of sweeping me in the first test, and when I pushed the ball wider, he started lunging uncomfortably. So then we decided, okay, that's the plan to go to, and it worked really well.
That's a lot of backroom planning, you know, like that goes behind the scenes.
It does. If you want to excel, you will do it on your own.
Now, for the amount of sheer passion you bring to the game and the kind of intelligence that goes behind just what we see on television, you're an inspiration to millions of aspiring cricketers, Ash. Thanks a lot for joining us today. Had a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.